But I'm going to tell you something. Allah gives us proof every 24 hours. He takes our soul and we take in a minor death. The minor death is sleeping. Who can prevent themselves from sleeping? Nobody. Even if you try, you will eventually fall asleep, right? Yes or no? Did you know that when you fall asleep, your soul has been taken? Do you realize that? Your soul is no longer in your body. And sometimes Allah doesn't return it. And sometimes He does. And that's the proof that you're going to be resurrected. The minor resurrection that you go through every day. When you wake up out of that minor death. If this is not enough as an example that we need to die, just like we need to fall asleep every day to get to the next reality, the next day, the last day, I don't know what will convince you. Even the atheist who claims he does not believe in Allah knows he's going to die. And if this is a reality that you cannot avoid, you better do something about it. You better do something about it in order to prepare for that moment. It's not a light matter. I like you guys because you guys are young and you want to go and see about death. When I was young, I didn't understand death. I thought I was invincible. You know, I thought life was long, and I mean, there were so many different misconceptions that we have about life at a young age sometimes. One of the most sobering things, one of the things that helps, is visiting the cemetery. Not just by yourself and visiting a grave. Go to a funeral. Put it on your calendar. Go there, they have the Muslim funeral center. Tell them to call you next time there's a funeral, a janazah. And you show up at that janazah. The family ain't going to reject you. Just be cool. And pay attention. Pay attention to everybody at that janazah. I did that. Listen to what they say, what they're talking about. Note the dead person, the deceased. Then follow that janazah to the cemetery. Stay there with it until Munkar and Nakeer come. Let them put the dirt on it. And still, the conversation changes from the funeral parlor to the gravesite. Once the people at the funeral parlor, a lot of times the people are crying and talking about the deceased. Once they get to the gravesite, they're talking about, and I've experienced this more than one time, they're talking about how long I haven't seen you. To each other. When was the last time we were together? Wow, it's been that many years. Your children look good. Where'd you get that outfit? What kind of work you do nowadays? They're not even concerned about the deceased anymore. And this is Muslim funerals. Some guys have the poor manners to be laughing and joking. That's not the place for it. It's a very serious matter. And one day that will be you. And you need to remind yourself that. One day that will be you. And if you want your family and friends to act like that, then don't teach them anything about death. Don't have those conversations. You know, some people die and they're not even prepared to die, even though they've had over 30 years to prepare for it. They haven't written a will. Their families don't know what to do. They were never expecting it. Their children don't even know how to pray over them. Don't be like that. Because if you're not prepared from that aspect, how are you going to be prepared for those words, those statements? Who is your Lord? What is your deen? And who is that man that came to you? This is all I wanted to remind you guys with. Our whole life, we're going to pass through it, however fast, however slow it goes for us. And eventually, we're going to be sat up by Munkar and Nakeer, and we're going to be asked those 3 questions. Very simple questions. Very easy test. The only difference is, the only difficult part is that you have to actuate what you're going to say. Imagine you're dead. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us to think about death every day. Imagine you are dead. It's your janazah. What do you want the people to say about you? And whatever answer you come up with, start doing that now. Because there's no guarantee that you have tomorrow. In fact, that's why some people say they call it the present, because it's a gift. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We're going to pray and then questions.